Hey guys, this is Tanya. Welcome to my channel, Front Yard Homestead Backyard Raised Bed. Let's give a shout out to Georgia, the Georgia Bulldogs that won the College Football National Championship last night. Go Dogs, sick 'em. Woof, woof, woof. I'm representing. Okay. I've had a lot of people ask me about my grow rack setup, how I set up my grow lights, what kind of grow rack I have, how I start seeds indoors in order to plant them outdoors. So I want to talk all about that today. So the purpose of this video will be to explain my grow rack setup and then to tell you how you can make an effective grow rack and make it work in a small space. If you're interested in learning how to make a grow rack for your own home, stay tuned. And if you know others who are trying to figure out how to get a grow rack set up in their home, please share this video with them. Also, don't forget to thumbs up this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and comment. I love to hear what you all have to say. I love to get new ideas for videos, and I'm also really curious about your grow rack setup. So some people wonder what the purpose of a grow rack is. Well, the purpose of a grow rack is to have a space where you can grow seedlings so that you can then transplant them into your garden once the temperature warms up or once they get big enough where they can survive in the outdoor environment. The reason you want to start your seeds indoors is because some of them need a head start on the season. They need to be bigger by the time you plant them in the ground. They should be growing in the house for maybe a handful of weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, so that by the time you plant them outside, they're big enough to take advantage of the warm weather. If you plant them before the warm weather, when it's still cool, that's 6 to 8 weeks out, they can't grow because it's too cold for them to really get a good head start. So you use a grow rack in the house to plant your seeds and give them the best chance at growing strong before you plant them in the ground. So the two basic things you need to create a grow rack are a good sturdy shelf, preferably with several levels, and then lights of some sort, whether those be fluorescent lights or LED grow lights. I prefer fluorescents, and I'll talk to you about why later. But as you can see here, I used a nice sturdy kitchen rack. I got this from Home Depot. I think it was like $90. It has definitely paid off for me, and I'll show you in a few minutes some of the great seedlings that I've started on this grow rack that have given me an abundance of vegetables. And I also use fluorescent lights. These were also really easy to purchase from Home Depot and install. Eric, my husband, installed those for us. Not all of us are in large spaces. Some of us are in very small spaces. We live in a small home. We live in a duplex, and there's not a lot of space at all. So when we thought about where to set up our grow rack, we really had to think of a good, reasonable place in the house to put it. We decided ultimately that we would put it right in our dining room, right next to our back door, our sliding door that goes to our backyard. And so we just set up the grow rack here, attached the lights. We will put a beautiful tapestry over the front of it when we're not using it, because we only use it a couple of times a year. And when we are using it, we take the tapestry down and we get those lights going and get those seedlings going. So you need to be willing to maximize space. If you have a lot of room in your home, that's great. If you have a room dedicated to plants, beautiful, use that space. But if you don't, be creative. You can put your grow rack in a space that might be unconventional, but will still get the job done. I have my grow rack as close to the back door as possible. It does get some light, however, we don't get great light in our home. So I put it by the door where I can get the seedlings in and out, where it does get some light, but I also use these supplemental lights, which really are the main light for my grow rack. Be aware that your grow rack doesn't have to be permanently in its location. It could be temporary. You can deconstruct it. If you're in a small space like mine and you don't want to have a grow rack like in your dining room all year long, you can take it down. You don't have to keep that up. We keep ours up because it's easier for us, but please know that you do not have to keep a structure up anywhere in your house that you don't want for an extended period of time. So if you need to, put that grow rack up in the growing seasons and then take it down when you don't need it anymore. I chose a metal grow rack, but you don't need to. You can choose metal, wood, whatever works easiest for you. I found that this metal grow rack is a really nice, sturdy rack, but you could use a bookshelf that you have repurposed for that. It's perfectly fine as long as you have shelves. I think it's a great idea to have shelves with movable racks because as your seedlings grow, you're going to want to give them space. So my rack has a large space at the bottom, kind of medium spaces at the top, and in the middle has a small size space. Now I do adjust those as the season goes on. My tomatoes tend to grow really big pretty fast. And so by the time I get them outside, they are large, and I've potted them up once or twice already. So they've gotten pretty big and they need a lot of space. The same may be the case with my eggplants and peppers. So it's ideal if your grow rack has shelves that are adjustable. Of course, that's not a requirement. It's just really helpful. I use fluorescent lights on my grow rack. Now, you don't have to use fluorescents, but I prefer them, and I will tell you why. I have used LED grow lights. I have used the red-blue grow lights. I have run the gamut of different grow light options, but I did not get good yield and good strong seedlings until I started using fluorescent lights. Shout out to Miss Linda Arsenault, who is in a gardening group that I'm in on Facebook. She gave me this tip a couple of years ago, and I went out and bought this grow rack and these exact lights that she recommended, and they have been amazing in providing my plants with a lot of good, yummy energy. I've used this grow rack for all of the seedlings that I've started in the house, from cabbages and collard greens to tomatoes and eggplants. And as you can see, they're thriving really well. They love this light, and I'm very happy with this arrangement. I will include the information for both the rack and the fluorescent lights in the description bar. If you can't find this exact size of fluorescent light, of course you can get the shorter ones or longer ones if you'd like, depending on the size of rack you get. But my strong recommendation is to use fluorescents. So here you can see my grow lights attached to my metal grow rack. There are 4 bulbs because I have 2 sets of lights on each rack. This makes a lot of really bright light for the plants during the day. You'll also notice that I have attached the lights to a hook with a zip tie. It's a really easy setup, and I have a chain that makes the light adjustable. So not only are the racks adjustable, but the level of the lights on the racks are adjustable as well. I'm also able to slide the racks, or the lights rather, in and out on the racks. Here's a different type of chain. I actually prefer this type. And what I do is I just pull that chain off of the hook, and then I'm able to move the chain up and down. I also have an automatic timer on my grow rack so that it comes on in the morning at 7 o'clock and it turns off in the evening between 10 and 11 p.m. You want your plants to be able to sleep at night, just like you sleep at night, so they need darkness. I cover up the plants, I cover up the grow rack so that they're not getting the ambient light from the room while we're down here maybe watching TV or eating dinner. But I do make sure that they are getting that bright light as soon as 7 o'clock hits. Here's the grow rack with some lights on. As you can see, there's the timer. I set it for the time that I want it to turn on and the time that I want it to turn off. Now, yes, the cord situation is an ugly mess, but you know what? Plants don't care, so it's okay. I also have it set up where I can have some lights on and some lights off and adjust that accordingly. So this is all together a really useful setup for me. And listen, you might not have a backyard where you can plant your starts once you start them. You might kind of be like, well, I only have a patio, or I have a really small yard, or I don't have any yard at all. I live in an apartment. That's okay. If you live in an area that has garden plots, you can go out and get yourself a garden plot, start your seeds at home, plant them at the plot. You can have all kinds of really delicious produce, because that's really our goal, isn't it? To produce food for ourselves and our families, our own natural food that we're producing, that we know where it came from. And so if you have the opportunity, go ahead, start, get a grow rack. It can be a small shelf, get you a few fluorescent lights, get that thing going. Produce a few seedlings and get started. Plant them in a grow bag on your patio. Plant them in a garden plot in town. Plant them maybe in your little backyard. Be creative. Thanks for tuning into my video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot about grow racks. I hope you're going to get one started. If you already have one, please tell me what your setup is. If you're interested in building one and I didn't quite cover all of the information, please ask me questions. Let me know what you would like for me to talk about. Also, there's a visitor here. This is Biscuit. Say hi, Biscuit. Say hi to the people. She's saying hi. Biscuit did not help in the building of the grow rack, but she's very greedy and will always come when I come outside because she thinks someone has a treat for her. Hey, girl. Yes, I know you're trying to eat. Biscuit wants you to thumbs up this video, to comment, to subscribe, and to share. If you enjoyed this content, please make sure that you've turned on the notification bell so that you always know when a new video is coming. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Say bye, Biscuit. Say bye. Bye.